네, 이미 오프닝 나잇 라이브를 통해서 많은 분들에게 얼리 액세스가 곧 시작된다는 소식을 밝혀주셨는데요. 소식을 듣지 못한 분들을 위해 언제부터 얼마나 오랫동안 언제까지 PoE2를 플레이할 수 있는지 한번 설명해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
So we're going into early access on November the 15th. We really want to make sure that there's a good amount of content in the early access. We want people to get all the way through to end game and have lots of play experience there. And it's very important during early access that we're able to test as much of the game as possible. So it's going to be a large release. We're going to stay in early access, I think, for at least 6 months, but we'll have to see. It depends on how long it takes us to get everything correctly, and it may take us a little bit of time to finish all of the content as well. But even what we release in early access should be as good quality as a retail game, and I hope that we can blow other games out of the water with just early access, let alone what we will have when we go into full release. So I'm hoping for very good things there.
바로 다음 질문 들어가 볼게요. PoE의 캠페인이 좀 길다고 느끼는 분들이 많이 계십니다. 그래서 시즌제 게임인 만큼 오래 반복한 분들이 많아서 그런 것 같은데 이 부분에서 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금하고요. 기존처럼 PoE 1에 있었던 뭐 노멀, 뭐 프로, 머슬 같은 난이도가 존재하는지 궁금합니다.
So the campaign is somewhat similar in length to Path of Exile 1's campaign once all is there, but I think that the quality of the second half of PoE 1's campaign is not as good as the first half. With PoE 2, the quality is excellent all the way through, and so I think that we should not get bored of it for a very long time. I think there's a lot more mechanics going on, and there's also a lot more bosses. A lot of the bosses in the PoE 1 campaign are very weak, not very good compared to PoE 2. In PoE 2, there are 100 bosses in the campaign, and all of them are very impressive. The level of design that we put into an in-game boss in PoE 1, we're now putting into every boss in PoE 2. They all have this level of quality, so I think that will be very exciting. The other thing as well is that there's a lot more things that change about the campaign each time you go through the game. In fact, one feature that's not very well known is that the world map in PoE 2 is also random. Layout changes with each season, and that changes of that are then reflected in the individual areas. It actually changes the feel quite a lot. Each league has a different map.
Oh my god.
We're gonna have 10 acts or how many acts?
So there will be 6 acts. It's really 5.5 because the act 6 is half the size of the normal one. But that's 100 areas, which in total should take people quite a bit of time the first time they play through. Of course, as you get better at the game, it becomes a lot easier. One thing that we've noticed is that Path of Exile 1 players have a lot of things to relearn. And learning all the boss mechanics and things like this. So the first time you fight every boss, I expect you to die at least 3 times. Before you learn the mechanics. So don't play hardcore the first time.
Yeah, of course. When it was first released, there's a very small amount of content. I mean, compared to it has today,
Right.
over more than 10 years, it became content-seeking
Yes.
game. So we are just curious about that. How much content will PoE 2 have when it is released?
Path of Exile 2, I don't think will have as much as what PoE 1 has on day 1. But I think by the time we've finished early access, it will have a very significant amount. One thing that we're doing is we're taking a lot of the leagues from PoE 1 and redoing them in PoE 2, which we can do relatively easily. Give them new bosses and monsters and things like this, and refresh all the rewards and all that stuff. But it helps a lot with development to be able to do this. So that will mean that PoE 2 will be able to create a lot of content very quickly. But also right now, our 100% focus is on the end game. We are going to be trying to add as much end game as possible because most action RPGs, when they first come out, the complaint that the user base has is, it's good, but the end game is too short. And I want to avoid this. Even in early access, I want the end game to be significant. We're going to be announcing our plans for end game closer to November. But at that time, we'll be announcing the full list of all the different in-game systems we will have, and there has to be many in order to make Path of Exile work. It should be very substantial.
Okay, thank you.
라이트 게이머들에게 좀 진입 장벽이 될 수도 있을 것 같은데 이 점에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지 우리 조나단님의 의견이 궁금합니다.
What I would hope is that with the features that we have for new players in the UI, you don't necessarily have to understand everything the game offers. You can just do the simple thing. You pick basic skills and pick suggested things, and you should be able to get through the campaign. And so my hope is that for a new player, they don't need to follow a build guide or worry about all of these things. They're able to just enjoy the game on the face as an action game. And then ideally, as they play more, they'll start to get a sense for the fact that there are other things out there. And then over time, they'll come to appreciate all of the different diverse options that they have. But ideally, we don't scare them too much when they first play the game,
공개된 영상으로는 패스오브 2에서 속도감에 대한 문제가 많이 제기가 되었습니다. 근데 엔드게임 콘텐츠에서는 이 부분이 많이 해소되는 것으로 알고 있는데, 그렇다면 패스오브 1처럼 오토본버와 같은 그런 원버튼 플레이가 가능한지, 아니면은 만약 가능하게 된다면은 DPS적으로 굉장히 많은 부분을 포기해야 되는지가 궁금합니다.
I definitely prefer people to be able to use more skills, have more combos and different things. Of course, we still have lots of automation that you can do with Spirit and so on, but yes, you absolutely will be sacrificing DPS to do that. For the speed concern, I think that when you actually play it, okay, this is something that people say a lot because they see the number of skills used per second as being lower. But when you actually play it, I think that it's a lot more enjoyable. And the other thing as well is that because there's a lot more moving going on while you're attacking, even though the number of skills you use per second, like if you just stand there, is lower, the number of skills, your uptime, your damage uptime is much higher. So effectively, if you can cast spells while moving continuously, it means that the actual number of skills you use per second doesn't necessarily go down by very much. So this is something I think that's an important detail. It's kind of the whole package. Yes, the basic attack is slower, but also you can move while doing it, and many other things like this. So it's kind of I guess you just have to experience it yourself and see how you feel about how it plays. But we still want you to feel like a god at endgame. You still need to have hundreds of projectiles spewing out of you and all sorts of things like this. This still needs to be the thing. It's just that we don't want it to be so ridiculous that a person looks at the screen and can't even understand what is even happening. There's where there's no understanding what to. I still want it so that you can still respond to a boss. You can still, there's sort of compelling gameplay there. But I'm sure people will make one-button builds or even zero-button builds. Of course they'll be sacrificing DPS.
Okay, next question is, we'd like to know how long the term between PoE 1 and PoE 2 the league is.
Right,
Yeah.
so the plan is to release a league every 3 months for both games.
3 months.
Yeah, every 3 months for
Yeah,
both
yeah.
games. There'll be a PoE 1 league and then 1 month, and then a PoE 2 league and then 2 months. And then PoE 1. But that being said, it depends on what the overlap of the audience is. If there's a lot of overlap of the audience, then we might want to actually slow down a little bit. It
And
might
maybe
be too
4
much.
months.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah.
But if there's not a lot of overlap, then we definitely want to have them both release a 3-month schedule. It is quite hard as a studio to have so many releases, but I think we can do it. The PoE 1 team is actually very small compared to the PoE 2 team. And once we finish PoE 2, many developers will be able to switch between the games a lot. So I think that will mean that we should be able to develop content very quickly.
So 3 months and 1 month and 2 months. Right?
Something like that.
Yeah, like that. Okay.
한국 PO 유저들에게 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Korean players have many very good action games, I think, compared to the West. And I would like PoE to be among the best in Korea as well. So, 감사합니다.
오케이, 잠시만요. 마지막으로 제가 준비한 선물이 있는데 융링크 타빌라 티셔츠로 드리겠다고.
T-shirts.
Thank you very much.